Hey there and welcome. Thank you for joining me for another presentation. This is Father Marcus from the Costa Blanca Anglican Chaplaincy, making the very most of this glorious sunshine. I'm humbled yet again that you're looking at another of our presentations, but it's great that we can do this, so bless you. Our reading for this coming Sunday in church, the Gospel reading, is the Jesus telling the story, the parable of the sower. The sower goes out to sow. And as he sows, some of the seed falls on the path, and some falls on amongst rocks and stones, and some falls amongst thistles, and other falls on good soil. And you know the story really well. And it's a turning point in the stories in the gospel. Up until this point, Jesus has been preaching and teaching in the synagogues. And so he's been seen as a rabbi, someone with authority, someone who is allowed to preach and teach. But because it's in the synagogue, it's only available to people who are there. And in our story today, the place changes, and from this from this home of teaching, which is the synagogue, Jesus goes out to down the beach, goes to the shore, the seashore, and people are flocking to hear him. Word's got out that he's a teacher and he's got a message to share. Word gets out, and people are so many people want to go and see him that there's a danger of him being pushed in the water. So he sits on the edge of a boat and he speaks to people. And this is where we get the beginning of the whole series of parables. And the point of parables is that they're talking to people in ways that they can understand, about things that they can grasp. It's not about great deep theology. It's not about stuff that people won't get. It's about Jesus using imagery and examples to make a point that people can relate to. And the deal with a parable is this, is what's that parable saying to me? And the beautiful thing about Jesus' stories, and that's the whole point, he came to change the world by telling stories. And the beautiful thing about his stories is, first of all, they never go out of date. And secondly, they've always got something to say to us. So let's just unpack this story for a moment. So Jesus is talking about a sower going out to sow seeds. And it would have been a very common, usual sight at that time. And he goes out with his sack of seed and he scatters the seed as he's going along. And it falls on the ground like it's supposed to, and it falls in different places. And so the first question is who are we in this story? Are we the sower? Are we the person with the information telling the story? Are we the seed? Are we the story itself? And we're not those things. We, you and I, and the people who hear the story, we are the soil. And in a sense, you know that lovely mud, glorious mud, nothing quite like it for cooling the blood. We are the mud, we are the stuff that the soil goes onto. And then the story is, different things happen to it. Some of it falls on hard ground, a path. A path is where people have trodden a lot of times, and it's packed the ground down. And sometimes that's us, we get used to things going in a particular way, so much so that that's the path we walk, and it's so packed and hard trodden that nothing can get in, and the message of Jesus Christ sometimes can't get in. And it's not that it can't get into any of us, it can't get into certain parts, that path. There's certain things that are so sort of entrenched in our lives that in those parts the message can't get in. And then there's all the shallowness. Some goes into shallow ground. There's stuff underneath, and that's the bit of us where we have that tendency not to be very deep about stuff. We're very good at knowing a little bit about quite a lot of things and getting involved in quite a lot of things, but only to a small level. And the message can come in, but it doesn't take any root. And there are parts of our lives that we're flitting in and out of stuff and not letting the message get to any depth. And then there's the bit where it falls among the thistles and the things of the busyness of life overtakes it. Goodness gracious me, that so many of us have got all that going on in our lives. The stuff of the world and the stuff of life and the stuff of living and the busyness and the things that we do get in the way of letting the story, letting the seeds right inside. And I know for one, I'm dreadful at that. So many things going on. We would have thought a few months ago that this lockdown would have given us all a load more time in order to do things. Well, I don't know about you, but I've been full on all the way through it. Loads of stuff going on, and this is a message that when there's so many things going on, we can't let that seed germinate right deep down, and then most of it goes in the good soil. Most of it goes in the good soil and blossoms and bears fruit, 50, 100, loads. And here's the thing, most of our lives are that good soil, that stuff that learns from the message of Jesus and blossoms and flourishes and grows. And most people are like that, but there's bits of us, and there are some people who are either so hard trodden or so shallow or so caught up in the ways of the world we can't get. It's not for us to judge other people. It's not for us to say, look at that shallow person or look at that worldly person. It's only for us to look at ourselves. And let's just spend a little bit of time thinking, what does this story say about me? Or what is this story telling me? And once we've done that, then we can start thinking about what Jesus has done, because it's so great that what he does, he moves out of the temple to where people are. And it's brilliant that we can get back in our churches and we can gather together Sundays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, whatever days that we go to church, and praise God together. And it is a glorious thing to do, and I believe it's a really important, the most important thing that we do. But when we're in church, what we're not doing is spreading that seed. We're not spreading the message. We do that by talking to people in ways that they can understand in places where they are. And the privilege of doing that is yours and mine. We're not going to beat people up. We're not going to bamboozle them. Just as we go about our daily life, we're letting people know of the glorious things that God has done. There. It's a great parable, and we're going to be having that in church on Sunday. And if you're there, I shall see you there. If you're one where I'm there. If you're not there, well, bless you. Do whatever it is that's good for you to do at the moment. Anyway, let's give thanks to God for the countless blessings that we have received, and together we are working to build the kingdom in this place. So bless you, and I'll see you soon.